Um, question. This question has been brought to you on this particular meeting many times, but I'm asking because it's been on my mind. It's about free will and decision making, and I wanted to ask you. There's one particular thing that comes up that brings this theme up for me, uh, and it's sometimes when I leave my house, I'm about 2 minutes away from the split in the road, and there are times when I have to do different things and I have to do things going to the left, not things to do that would take me to the right. And I don't know which way I'm going to go until I get to the very beginning of that split. And then the decision is made at the last second. And I really don't feel like I'm making the decision. I really don't know. Sometimes I just don't know which one because I wasn't like pressed for time or anything. So I really could have gone either way. And I just go to the left, I'll go to the right. And I say to myself, I wonder who made, what made that decision and what was the decision based on? Like what made me go left instead of right? Because I could have gone either way. So can you talk about that? Like, I know that's consciousness making that decision because you've talked about there being only one doer. There's a lot, we always talk about and there's no doer, but you said no, there is one doer, and he's the one that makes the decision for all of us. So can you talk about that? It's something that's been on my mind.
Right. What made you decide to ask this question?
Good one. Curiosity.
And what made curiosity? What brought up curiosity around this question?
I guess it just shows up.
What?
Sure.
Well, you look out the window and there is rain. It's raining. What decided the rain? What decided you looking out the window? Is there a different decider, one decider that decides the rain, and one decider that decides to look up the window? No, it is not our experience that there are different deciders, that there is somebody who's deciding the rain and somebody who's deciding to look out the window.
So it's just a happening.
Yeah, you could say that anything that you perceive as a happening, that's one way of wording it. Any event that you perceive is a happening, yes. But your question is about who decides the happening. It's like, who decides the wave on the surface of the ocean? It's the ocean. If we want to assume a decider, the wave arises out of the ocean and is made out of the ocean. It's all made out of water. In other words, there isn't a personal wave decider. In other words, every wavelets on the surface of the ocean has its own personal free will outside of water. a current within the ocean is made out of the ocean. It's created by the ocean, experienced by the ocean. It's within the ocean. Decisions are made like the dance of the cosmos. It's constantly in motion, and at the same time, it is completely still. Because you cannot add or remove anything out of the totality, out of the cosmology. You cannot remove a hair out of the universe. So there is actually no movement from here to there or something being added or deleted. It's like in your night dream, there is movement within your night dreams. But nothing is actually moving, nothing is actually happening. Your waking state is similar. You make a right turn, then you make a left turn. Nothing is actually happening. Conceptually, we speak of things happening. I am driving the car and I decided to make a right because I want to stop by the supermarket before going to visit my mom. That's a narrative. Nothing wrong about it. Except when we mistake the narrative to be reality. The reality of any narrative is no narrative. Because reality is not a narrative. If reality was a narrative, we wouldn't be speaking about reality, we would be speaking about narratives. There would be infinite narratives. But the reality of a narrative is not a narrative. So the reality of a personal doer is no doer. In our relative realm of conversation, we speak of doing. But we need to understand in this very moment you are hearing these words without doing anything. Because doing requires time. But you are not in time. Time is a narrative of yours that you choose the time narrative, which is fine. But do not exist in time. Your experience is not in time. That's why we say awareness is not in time. Reality is not in time. Consciousness is not in time. So a thought appears to you that says, oh, I decided to go to the right instead of to the left. Yeah, you decided. But what is this you? Is you the body? Is you the instrument? Via which the vehicle is being steered? Or is you the reality of the instrument, the reality of the body, the reality of the world? So you, as the reality, which is consciousness, you decide to stop by the supermarket. So you made a right via the body mind and the car. There isn't a separate door or a separate decider. You could say that in religious way of speaking, God decides everything. But I don't want to introduce fatalism. God is yourself. Not some power outside of you. You are that reality. You right now is a reality to your experience, and that reality is absolute and infinite and eternal. It's your very being. It's yourself. You know it. Reality knows itself. It knows it is the one and only. What's in the way? It's a habit. We keep referring to I as somebody, a personal limited consciousness. We play this game because it's juicy. triggers emotions, memories that we can go over again and again and again and again, keep getting some more and more juice out of them. Stories about me, about others. Yeah. It's some sort of painful angst which we love. And we complain about it.
So Magdi, take away that narrative, and you have a body that's in a car taking a right instead of a left, and that decision was made by the one and only doer. This is my understanding of this now. The one and only doer, consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it. But is that something that's is it almost like a destiny thing where that body was always going to do that no matter what, or well, how does that decision get made if it's not made by a
In the
separate
moment.
self? It's just in the moment.
In the moment.
Is there a rationale for the move, for the decision, or is just
Yes, you want to go to
random?
you want to go to the store to buy some groceries.
Okay. But I could have gone the other way to go to the gym or whatever, because my
Sure,
gym is to the
absolutely.
left, my store is to the
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So
Yeah, the rationale is I'll go to the store later. I want to go to the gym first. But it's in the moment.
even when there's no pressure at all to do one or the other, there was no time constraint, nothing. So
It's
just
your
gets made in
freedom.
the moment.
You're, of course, always in the moment. Can you experience 20 seconds ago? Or can you experience 20 seconds from now?
Yeah.
So it's always in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the questioning is really coming from the mind, which really just there's no reason to even ask, because it's just and what it wants to know is just the mind, right?
Well, no, not really.
Oh.
No, it's always you. You want to the game of ignorance, or the veiling game. The veiling game is our own game.
Mm.
It's not the game of the mind. It's our own game. Which is okay, it's fine. There's nothing off about it.
Mm-hmm. Kind of hiding from myself in a way, playing games with myself.
Oh, we do, don't we? I mean, when a thought appears to you and you spin it and flip it on this side and flip it on the other side, who's doing that? You're doing that. You're enjoying going over it again and again, not letting it go, because it's your freedom. You can take a thought and pin it to the wall. I mean, metaphorically speaking, because everything is always changing on the screen. But yeah, it's your freedom. You're always exerting your freedom, your absolute freedom at every moment. You don't exist in time. You only, actually, you don't exist. Existence appears to you, out of you, in you. The thought appears to you, in you, out of you. Why is there a question? Because you want to engage in a question. This is fine.
So it seems to me like everything is just what it is, except that there's that added on idea that it's just a personal self doing all this, but it's really just the self. I think that's what I'm hearing. That that narrative. Just everything else is just what it is, but we just add that thing about the storyline about this is this, right, about it being a separate self.
That everything is as it is. That understanding that everything is as it is refers to consciousness is the one and only reality. When you say everything is as it is, in that statement, you are giving power to things. When you say everything is as it is experientially, there is just awareness. Awareness taking on the form of this perception. Yes, you're with me?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
right now, as awareness takes on the form of this perception, where does that statement, everything is as it is, where does this statement fit within awareness is just taking on the form of this perception right now? To say everything is as it is too much. It's creating some sort of narrative about things.
Yeah, I guess what I was trying to say, Magdi, is I probably don't have the right words to express that, but a lot of times I think there are two things going on like that. I'm the self and then the small self, like the big self, let's say, and then the small self. But there's just awareness, like we keep saying this, but it doesn't. It's sinking in sometimes a little deeper than before, and it's thinking that there's really just one thing going on. It's the self, but there's always this narrative about, oh, well, there's a small self here, but then there's also the big self here. So I'm just saying everything as it is, meaning that the only thing, what I'm doing that's quote unquote screwing things up is by adding in this idea that I am a separate self driving a car or whatever, and trying to figure out where to go. When the reality is awareness is doing it all, and it feels that way, but it just there's an added story onto it, and that's what's making it strange or something, or I don't even know how to explain this, but I know what I'm trying to say. I just don't have the words right now for this, but that's okay. You can just go ahead.
No, stick with the following. There is one reality, and this reality is consciousness, awareness. And everything is this reality. There's just this one reality. And this reality is universal, meaning it has no borders or edges. It's not located inside my brain, inside my skull, whatever. There's one reality. The reality is I is this reality. And everything else, thoughts, perceptions, sensations, memories, narratives, are the play of this reality, the movement of this reality, the reflection of the sun on the surface of the ocean. Reflections.
Awesome, Magdi. Thanks a lot. I'm gonna pass here.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Sure.